On the night of April 14th, 1912, as the situation aboard the RMS Titanic began to change, one challenge quietly affected how people understood and reacted to what was happening. Language. Please subscribe. The ship was not just a place of luxury and travel. It was a meeting point of cultures, backgrounds, and voices from different parts of the world. Passengers spoke different languages, followed different customs, and understood information in very different ways. Under normal conditions, this diversity added richness to the journey. But in a moment of crisis, it became a serious challenge. In the early hours after the iceberg collision, clear communication became one of the most important factors. Crew members began giving instructions, directing passengers toward lifeboats, and explaining what needed to be done. For those who understood the language being used, these instructions provided guidance and reassurance. But for others, especially among third-class passengers, the situation was very different. Many passengers in the lower classes came from various countries and did not speak English fluently or at all. This created a gap between the information being given and the information being understood. When instructions were delivered, they were not always fully clear to everyone. Some passengers had to rely on gestures, tone of voice, or the actions of others to interpret what was happening. This delay in understanding had real consequences. While some people began moving toward the lifeboats early, others remained in place, unsure of what was required of them. The difference was not necessarily in willingness to act, but in the ability to understand what action was needed. In a situation where time was limited, even small delays could make a significant difference. The layout of the ship added another layer of difficulty. For passengers who were unfamiliar with the structure, navigating toward the decks was already challenging. When combined with language barriers, this task became even more complex. Without clear directions, some passengers struggled to find the correct paths, relying on following others or waiting for clearer signs of what to do. Crew members did attempt to assist, but the situation was difficult to manage. With a large number of passengers and limited time, it was not always possible to communicate effectively with everyone. In some cases, bilingual passengers helped translate instructions, acting as a bridge between the crew and those who could not understand directly. These moments of informal communication became crucial in helping people move toward safety. As the evacuation progressed, the importance of clear communication became even more apparent. Those who understood the instructions were able to act more quickly, while those who did not faced additional challenges. This created an uneven response, where some groups were able to move efficiently while others lagged behind, not because of hesitation, but because of confusion. The emotional impact of this situation was also significant. Imagine being in an unfamiliar place, surrounded by people speaking a language you do not fully understand, while something serious is happening around you. The uncertainty, combined with the lack of clear information, would naturally increase anxiety. For many passengers, this was not just a physical challenge, it was an emotional one as well. Looking back, the language barriers on the RMS Titanic highlight how important communication is in emergency situations. It is not enough to give instructions. They must also be understood. This lesson has influenced how modern safety procedures are designed, with greater emphasis on clear, accessible communication for people from different backgrounds. It also shows how diversity, while enriching in normal circumstances, can present challenges when conditions change suddenly. The passengers on Titanic represented a wide range of experiences and cultures, and this diversity shaped how they experienced the event. More than a century later, this aspect of the Titanic story continues to be studied and remembered. It adds depth to our understanding of what happened, showing that the disaster was not only about physical events, but also about human interaction, perception, and communication. In the end, the language barriers on Titanic were not just about words. They were about understanding, timing, and the ability to respond in a critical moment. They remind us that in any situation, especially one involving risk, clarity of communication can make a profound difference. And on that night, aboard the RMS Titanic, the challenge of language became one of the many factors that shaped how the story unfolded.